Hey, everyone. My name is Andrew Hall, but you can call me Dr. Kennard. This is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show, where we cover all kinds of news and fun through a secular lens. Stories today, booster shots coming. COVID vaccine booster shots are coming in the U.S. Rand Paul off of YouTube for a week. Sorry, Rand. Single tear. No religious exemption for masks in a Tennessee school district. Is there video? Yes, there is video. And vaccines during pregnancy. It's important to get vaccinated even if you're pregnant. And we have some other videos about the weather because it's hot. It isn't just like normal hot. It's like hot, hot. And New Zealand. New Zealand is going to possibly, perhaps let people in 2022. And that's if you're vaccinated, of course. All right, everyone, let's do something funny, right? Should we do something funny? Let's do something funny. I don't know if that was funny or awesome or calming or awesome or pretty cool. It could be all of those. I'm going to just show it again because I like it so much. I think I could watch that a lot, but I'm not going to subject you all to it. Not that I've already watched it a lot before showing it here. I'm going to say hello to everyone in the chat. See how you all are doing this morning. Tobin Templeman. On the East Coast, way less people wearing masks. That is not good. Tesla Ranger. I took a look at the video. It's pretty funny stuff. You're right. Simply Secular Dave. Glad to see that you're here. Dee Parks. Well, how about that, Dee Parks? I'm sure you're speaking of other people than me. I got a compliment. I'm not even going to get into my own personal issues right now. I'm going to say hello to the chat. Glenn Chesterton. Good seeing you, Glenn. Dr. Mordecai. Big ass dumb energy. LOL. I think Rand Paul is my new favorite person to make fun of. That's what I think of. I think he's my new favorite person. Is it because one of those posts you wrote about Rand Paul's gone viral? Yeah, it's gone viral. Sure, it has. Kind of viral. It's got like 30,000 hits to it, probably closer to 40,000. But I have seen people share it around the satirical piece I wrote about Rand Paul getting his medical license revoked. Oh, it's butter. It's butter on top of gravy, everyone. What's up, Derek Cruz? Jessi Bear. Glad to see you. Scott Duke. It was intriguing indeed. Unidentified floating object. I don't know if that was Spoon Man. Dave. I did it twice already. The girlfriend. I did it twice already. I have an autistic-like focus on things, but I don't think everyone who watches this show shares my autistic-like focus on some things right there. All right. So what are we doing? We're going to be covering those news stories. Do I have any announcements? Yeah. One of the videos, one of my posts from Pathos Non-Religious channel, Laughing in Disbelief, went kind of viral. It's hit the Google News feed, and yes, I'm quite happy. And I just thought of an extra benefit, which I hadn't thought of before. And let me tell you, you want to sit down, you want to talk about some Schadenfreude for a minute. I'll talk about some Schadenfreude for a minute. Not only is there a possibility that the person who is the target of the satire, in this case, Senator Rand, might actually read the article that I'm making fun of, the post that I wrote that's making fun of him. He may actually read it. And then I'm thinking, Andy, your exes who you don't like and who don't like you, they may occasionally see one of their friends post one of your articles too. And they'd be like, that damn Andy Kennard. I can't escape him. Weird, right? I had that thought today. It's like, my ex-wife might see some of my posts just because her friends post, because her friends share my articles on social media. Is that a bit of Schadenfreude right there? That's a bit of Schadenfreude, everyone. Pettiness. I'm going to let go. I'm going to let that go right now. Thanks, Jessi. Hey, Eden's Aquaponics. Good morning. Take the compliment, Andy. It was very difficult. It was my last day at work yesterday, and it was pretty emotional. To tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie to you. It was emotional. Cheshire, the region and not the cat. I imagine that you're in Cheshire. There you go. Okay. You want to do some memes, everyone? I rambled on enough about me. Let's do some memes. Oh, this is funny. Coca-Cola cat. That cat is not a happy cat. But the cat might be too large or too lazy to actually move. Coca-Cola cat. All right, next one. Not, okay. It's just a pun, right? And it's a stupid pun, but I know. We're going to do some punishment. Don't be a triceratops. Why bother? I'll soon be extinct anyways. But you should be a do-ceratops. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the pun. It's just, yeah. It's dinosaur humor, everyone. Dinosaur humor. But we got some God-related humor. I think I've shared this before, but I liked it so much. I saw it again. It's like, oh, I love this God meme. It really brings out the inner pious atheist that I am. Happiness is submission to Godzilla. And Godzilla approves of your submission. And this is the classic 1952 classic Godzilla we're talking about there, right? None of the upgrades. Classic Godzilla. All right. I thought it was hilarious too, Cryptameria. All right, so let's do the first story. Come on up to the table. We'll start taking a look at what's in the news. FDA expected to authorize COVID-19 vaccine booster shots for some immunocompromised people in the next 48 hours. This is something that that's not surprising, right? We've seen the nation of Israel giving out booster shots. They've been giving out booster shots now for a couple of weeks. First, it started with immunocompromised people. And now I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, chat, that people over 60 can get a booster shot, a COVID-19 booster shot in Israel. So, and we will probably be following the same path too. So right now, immunocompromised people are going to be getting booster shots, and we'll see other groups in the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months getting shots too. And at some point, of course, there'll be shots, regular, everyday garden variety shots, okay for children under 12 too. I believe they're in clinical trials right now. But the girlfriend's probably watching, so she knows more about this clinical trial stuff than I do. All right, let's go into the nuts and bolts of the story. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is expected to announce within the next 48 hours that is authorizing COVID-19 vaccine booster shots for some people who are immunocompromised, according to a source familiar with the discussions. This would be a third shot of the 2-dose Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. That announcement could slide, the source cautioned. But this is the current timing. The FDA is closely monitoring data as it becomes available from studies administering an additional dose of the authorized COVID-19 vaccines to immunocompromised individuals. An FDA spokesman told CNN the agency, along with the CDC, is evaluating potential options on the issue and will share information in the near future. The FDA must give authorization for the vaccines to be used in new ways outside the existing authorization. All 3 COVID-19 vaccines being used in the U.S. are given under emergency use authorization by the FDA, but full approval is pending for Pfizer's vaccine. After FDA grants approval or authorization, the U.S. Disease Centers for Disease Control and Prevention then advises on whether to actually use a vaccine as authorized by the FDA. Vaccine advisors for the CDC will meet on Friday to discuss booster doses for COVID-19 vaccines and additional doses for some immunocompromised people, according to a meeting agenda posted by the agency on Monday. I'm just wondering what's the over-under. What are the chances that there are already people who have secretly gotten a third vaccine shot? They forward to the documents maybe saying that, oh, I've only had one shot so far. Give me another shot. I'm sure that there are some. And if you have enough money, I'm sure you can buy your way into getting a third shot if you really wanted to. A recent study by Johns Hopkins researchers found that vaccinated immunocompromised people are 485 times more likely to end up in the hospital or die from COVID-19 compared with the general population that is vaccinated. Based on an estimate by the CDC, about 9 million Americans are immunocompromised either because of diseases or the medications that they take. It has been known for months that COVID-19 vaccines might not work well for this group. The hope was that vaccination rates overall would be so high that the herd would protect them. But it didn't work out that way because about a third of eligible people in the U.S. have not received even one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. And of course, the Delta variant is also super transmissible too, which means you just need more people to be vaccinated to get herd immunity. Checking out the chat. Hail Godzilla. That's right. Go Godzilla. Dr. Mordecai. Hey, Bonnie. You got good vibes? I have good vibes. I have nothing. My vibrational energy this morning. Totally stellar right now. I just want to say that. All right. So what do we want to do first? You want to talk about New Zealand or you want to talk about Tropical Storm Fred? We'll go with New Zealand. I think we're going to go with New Zealand. And about how they're going to be allowing people in New Zealand to let vaccinated travelers in 2022. That's the name of the video, everyone. Oh, I got to rewind this. I got to do that. Now I got to do this. And I think we're good.
We're not in a position to fully reopen just yet. When we move, we will be careful and deliberate because we want to move with confidence and with as much certainty as is possible. As a first step, from next year, once everyone who is eligible is offered a vaccine and we have good coverage through the criteria I just described, we'll move to a risk-based pathway system of travel. That means the nature of your entry into New Zealand will be dependent on a couple of key things, in particular, your vaccination status and where you have been for the last 14 days. Countries will be grouped according to risk. Factors considered will be the number of cases, prevalence of variants of concern, vaccination rates, and our confidence in the country's strategies for maintaining outbreaks.
If I was going to make a suggestion to New Zealand, and this is completely in self-interest here, I would like them not to clump Massachusetts in with the rest of the United States of America. I'm sure that there are several states that don't want to be associated with Texas and Florida at this point, everyone. Right? If New Zealand looks at us as a whole country and say, I'm sorry, you guys are just too crazy over there. We can't let you in, whether you're vaccinated or not. I would say, please consider Texas and Florida and the South, the Bible Belt, the COVID belt, to be their own separate entity. That would, once again, total self-interest here. All right, checking out the chat. And New Zealand talking logic. What a concept. It's crazy. Glenn, don't rain on my parade, Glenn. Sorry, U.S. citizens. I don't think you'll be allowed in Kiwi land. Like I said, I'm from Massachusetts. Doesn't that count for anything? All right. What's the next story we're doing, everyone? Oh, Rand Paul. My new favorite person to hate. Oh, not to hate. Hate is such a strong word. Dislike thoroughly? Okay, we'll go with that. YouTube suspends Rand Paul for video claiming masks don't prevent infection. Video platform suspends Republican senator in the latest move against a public figure who has spread COVID disinformation. What I really want to know is whether or not Rand Paul has always had that hair. like it's just weird here, and I don't want to hair shame him, but can you imagine him as a kid on the playground with that kind of weird hair? The kid probably got mocked and made fun of. That's why he's so crazy today. That's my theory, everyone. YouTube, links in the description. YouTube suspended Republican Senator Rand Paul on Tuesday for 7 days over a video claiming that masks are ineffective against COVID-19. In the latest move against a prominent public figure who has spread disinformation about ways to protect against the virus or about the vaccines developed to fight it. We removed content from Senator Paul's channel for including claims that masks are ineffective in preventing the contraction or transmission of COVID-19 in accordance with our COVID-19 medical misinformation policies. A YouTube spokesperson said, "This resulted in a first strike on the channel, which means it can't upload for a week, per our longstanding 3 strikes policy," the spokesperson added. Don't you think that some strikes should be weighed more than others? Like if you're spreading misinformation about a deadly virus, if you have a large platform, should that count for at least 2 strikes, everyone? Right? Because it's one thing for me to get a copyright strike, or for you, if you're a content creator, to get like a strike for copyright. Is that in the same category as Senator Rand Paul basically being an accomplice to murder because he is spreading misinformation? I think that should be at least 2 strikes. Maybe microphone, maybe it should be 3 strikes. Maybe you get 1 pass at spreading misinformation, and then you're just gone. Next panel. In the removed video, Paul cast doubt on the effectiveness of masks, saying most of the masks you get over the counter don't work. They don't prevent infection, before adding, trying to shape human behavior isn't the same as following the actual science, which tells us that cloth masks don't work. I think that was a variation of one of my Richard Nixon voices. Many public health experts have advised using masks, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention first recommended the public wear cloth masks in April 2020. More recently, the CDC advised vaccinated people to wear masks indoors in Delta surge areas. Paul's current strike will be lifted from his account after 90 days if there are no more violations. A second strike within the 90 days will result in a 2-week suspension, followed by a permanent ban. Permanent ban. If his account accrues a third strike. YouTube suspension of Paul's account was issued a day after Twitter suspended Representative Senate Republican. Wow, that's wrong. See, this is the thing, everyone, right? Having written online, having written a blog for years at this point, occasionally mistakes get made, right? But what makes me feel good is when someone like CNN or The Guardian or The Independent makes a mistake. It does make me feel better about my own shitty writing. Because we all know Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a senator. She is a representative. So I'm just going to correct that. YouTube suspension of Paul's account was issued a day after Twitter suspended Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's account for 1 week for violating the platform's COVID-19 rules. Calais ran Paul off of YouTube for a week, and Marjorie Taylor Greene off of Twitter for a week. A little slice of heaven here, a little bit of Schadenfreude heaven. If my heaven, I want to tell you this, if there was a heaven, my personal heaven would have a lot of Schadenfreude. It would have a lot of Schadenfreude. John Hudson says, 1 in 4 pregnant or women who plan to be pregnant in the future have not been vaxxed. Yeah, we're going to get to that, dude. She is vaxxed. I'm pleased to say my daughter, who is 6 months pregnant, is vaxxed. That's good, dude. Congratulations on that. We're actually going to be covering that story. It's the last story we're covering today about pregnancy and vaccination rates. Oh, let's see. Hair Club for Men. That's right. Glenn Chesterton. And he seems to be half poodle. All right. I think I covered everything. Did I catch up with everyone in the chat? I hope so. He is actually a medical doctor, and he's also an ophthalmologist, so he is board certified. So he does have a regular everyday medical license, like he is an MD, and he is an ophthalmologist. Okay, where are we? We're only 20 minutes in, but we're like blasting through these stories really fast. Halftime tummy rub show already? Halftime tummy rub show. This is when Simply Secular Dave from the West Coast tells me I should ask people to like the video, because I haven't done that yet. I don't think I've done that at all. Microphone, and we're 20 minutes in, and I haven't asked anyone to like the video. Please like the video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you get some value from whatever I do here, then please subscribe. And let's do something funny. You want to do something funny? Let's do something funny.
Oh my God, he's choking. What do we do? What do we do? The Heimlich. We've got to do the Heimlich. That sounds German. No kidding, genius. Now look it up. Come on, breathe it out. Breathe it out. Show him the Heimlich.
Heinrich Leopold Himmler was reached for a
Dude, just call 911. 911, what's your emergency? Hello, hi, how are you? I think he's choking. Help. Who? Chuck. Chuck's choking. Chuck, what did you last eat? Wait, what? Who's Chuck? He's a friend of mine. Well, I mean, he's really a friend of Mike's, but I know Mike. Mike introduced us. So do you consider yourself to be Chuck's friend independent from Mike? Oh, wow. I never thought of it that way. Okay, lie down. Do you feel validated by Chuck in your friendship? Yeah, I'd say so. Okay, you need mouth to mouth? Uh-huh. And what about Mike? Is he there for you in times of crises? You know, every time I ask him for a charger, he never has one. Okay, did you floss this morning? It's times like these where it's important to ask yourself, who are my real friends here, you know? Dude, I got a girlfriend. I can't give you mouth to mouth. She's always wondering, like, what the boys are doing anyway. Yeah, look, Chuck's choking. Mike is choking Chuck? I think Chicken's choking Chuck. No matter how much he's into it, Chuck probably doesn't know his limits, okay? Through your nose, buddy. Through your nose. Breathe through your nose. This was a great talk. Thank you. I feel so much better. Know your self-worth, baby. I will. Chuck, good news, buddy. Help's on the way. Yeah. How do folks respond to a 911 call? Are you Mike? Yeah. Choking suspect identified. Sir, can you put your hands behind your back for me, please?
Brilliant. The guy's freaking hilarious, everyone. Boom, light. Thank you, Tesla Ranger. Good morning, Jess M. Hello. Jessi Bear says, who wants to bet he will continue on purpose just to get 3 strikes and be a martyr for the right? Because votes from idiots still count. Votes for idiots do count, Jessi Bear. They've counted for quite a while, and they're going to be counting for who knows how long into the future. That was funny, Scott Duke, right? He does have a nice style to him. I don't know if you've ever done the Heimlich maneuver on anyone. I've done it on 2 occasions. The last time it was at work. This was, sometime in the midst of the pandemic. And if you do the Heimlich maneuver, it is if you do it correctly, it is highly effective. You can hear the air just coming out of the person all at once. And if you're lucky, you'll get a chunk of food flying out with the air too at the same time. What's up, Casey? Hey, Randy. Glad to see that you're here. And B, glad to see you around too. Do I have a funny story about Heimlich Himmler? I can't talk about it because I would be in a lot of trouble. Not with actual YouTube, but it's one of those things I just can't talk about. But it is hilarious too. Maybe I'll put it in a short story. Maybe I'll put it in a story at some point, or in a screenplay. I don't know. I'm just talking right now. This is all I'm doing. What's the next story? Get to the next story, Andy. Hits button. Tennessee parents whine after school denies son's religious exemption to mask mandate. All right, show of hands. Show of hands. Who thinks there should be a religious exemption for vaccines? All right. No one does. All right, so that's good. I had to put my hand down because I wasn't even listening to my own directions. Who thinks there should be an exemption for masks? Well, No one thinks that either. All right. Well, I guess we're all in agreement. Let's go to the story. This is from Hemant Mehta, the Friendly Atheist. Links in the description below, everyone. The Centers for Disease the CDC, that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to say the CDC is doubling down on its recommendation and this is not the right story, Andy. This is the next story. This is the right story. From Hemant Mehta, the Friendly Atheist. In Nashville, Tennessee, when Valor Collegiate Academy, a network of public charter schools, opened the doors for the first day of school on Monday, they purposely shut them for the child of Neil and Melissa Hamrine. That's because he tried to come in without a mask. There's video for this. And this is what kind, I'm going to use the word, asshole parents this kid has. Not only do they want their kid to get sick or to spread illness, right, amongst his peers, and teachers, but they made the kid go up to the door because they knew that the kid wouldn't be allowed to go into school, but they still brought the kid up to the school, just traumatizing him a little bit more. Microphone, right? Just traumatizing him a little bit more. And I know that there's a video about this that we're going to be showing, but it's ridiculous. He tried to come in without a mask. The school said masks were mandatory in line with the Metro Nashville Board of Education CDC-based guidelines. When the irresponsible parents tried to complain about it, school officials correctly stood by their decision, saying their focus was on the safety of their community. Makes total sense. Fuck your crazy religious beliefs. No, the CDC didn't say that, but I'll just read between the lines. Neil says, this is from the crazy parents. Neil says, in years past, the school made exemptions for students who wore certain attire in line with their religious beliefs. He says this should be no different. See, that's a false equivalency fallacy you're looking at right down there. A false equivalency. He's saying that you can wear a cross around your neck, and that's allowed. So that means his son shouldn't have to wear a mask. See, that's a false equivalency. He says this should be no different. He and his wife feel their children should not have to wear something they believe would restrict them in any way. Our God is not Fauci. It's Jesus. And we should have the rights to be defended and supported in the same way. Neil said, yes, that was my lemongrass. Lemongrass? Lemongrass, right? The character from Adventure Time. He spoke in that kind of crackled, high-pitched kind of way. All right. You think that's a crazy story, and it is a crazy story, Microphone. But there is video, and it's we're going to show the video right here. The name of the video is Student Denied Entry on First Day of School for Not Following Mask Mandate. All right. Oh, we got to skip that ad, everyone. No one wants to see that.
The first day of school is meant for memories, but today was one to forget for a Nashville family. They were locked out of this school because they declined to wear a mask. News Channel 5's Levi Ismail tells us why this family says their religious exemption should have been honored.
Here.
I feel that it's extreme government overreach.
Pictures and video are about as common on the first day of school as books and pencils.
He isn't going to let you in, buddy. Okay? He isn't going to let you in.
Problem is, for Neil and Melissa Amrine, these weren't the memories they hoped for.
My children enjoy going to school and want to be there, and now he's upstairs literally today on his first day of school, not allowed to go to school.
Without a mask, their son was told he could not walk into the building at Valor Collegiate Academy. They tell me they applied for a religious exemption weeks ago and were led to believe there would be no problem.
Valor has decided that requests for mask exemptions on religious grounds will not be granted at this time.
Then came the emails and texts.
They respected the exemption all summer. They changed on Friday.
Now, this was just after Metro Nashville schools adopted a mask mandate for all students and staff indoors as well as on buses. The publicly funded charter school decided to follow suit, saying this is intended to protect our community.
We're not here to obviously harm the public. We certainly respect the people's choices. We just want to make sure that our choices are respected as well.
He isn't going to let you in, buddy. Okay? He isn't going to let you in.
If you had a medical reason, they could make the exception.
And I would like for them to respect parents' rights.
Both Neil and Melissa say it's against their beliefs to wear something against their will. So for now, they hope the school can see things from their side as they have before.
Our God is not Fauci, it's Jesus. And we should have the same rights and hopefully be defended and supported in the same way.
Every day their son remains home because of masks counts as an unexcused absence, and these two say it's a policy that needs to change, not just for them, but for the countless other families who also want their kids in school and won't settle for anything less.
There's no perfect solution for the problem that we currently have.
Levi Ismail, News Channel 5.
When all Metro National
Is that child abuse? That seems like it's child abuse, everyone. That's what it seems like to me. Making their kid go up to the door, try the door, give him the look, and then walk away. That kid's going to be in therapy. He's going to be in therapy in like, I don't know, 5 years, 2 months. I don't know when he's going to go in therapy, but he's going to be in therapy for that. And I'm sure all the other crazy stuff his parents do. Man. Let's see. Jessi Bear says, don't use kids as pawns in ignorance. Yeah, I feel bad for the kid. Let's see what else is going on here in the chat. I didn't see. I don't know. I'm just trying to catch up with the with the chat here. See what's going on. Well, the school has a First Amendment right to demand you wear a mask. I don't know if that was really a First Amendment thing. The parents are trying to make a First Amendment. I believe they're trying to make a First Amendment argument, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's what it is. Well, Jessi Bear, that is a very simple response. That's a very simple answer, and it would be nice. But I think that those two parents have a long history of being assholes. They have a long history of being jerks. They're not going to stop anytime soon, unfortunately. Interest. Okay, so the right mentions things that move the Overton window often. Maybe the left should leak denying medical treatment to unvaccinated people with COVID without intending to enact. I understand what you're saying. I try to push the Overton window. KCA Randy, I try to do that. James Henry, glad to see that you're here. Yeah, make vaccine mandatory. Well, it is in the armed services, at least right now. And there are definitely some states, municipalities that are demanding healthcare workers, and some teachers too, to get vaccinated. Yeah. Just horrible people. So what's the, we're going to do something lighter. You want to talk about a natural disaster? All right. Is it a disaster? Not yet. Maybe, possibly. Another video this soon, Andy? Another video this soon. This is about the heat wave and the tropical storm and why God hates Florida because, there's a plague and now there's tropical storms. And you would think this would be full evidence that Florida is doing something wrong.
Tonight, more than half of all Americans are under heat alerts, and we are tracking Tropical Storm Fred in the Caribbean. CBS's Lonnie Quinn has the latest on all this. Lonnie?
All right, Major, the heat you're referring to is on both sides of the country, at least certainly by the time you get to tomorrow. As far as the eastern half of the country is concerned, it's the heat and humidity combination that gives you these oppressive feels-like temperatures. Today, it felt like 108 in Norfolk, Virginia. It felt like 111 in Kansas City. Tomorrow, more of the same. D.C. feels like 112. St. Louis feels like 110. Friday, another day of that type of heat. Now, out west, the heat really kicks in tomorrow. Portland and Yakima will both set records at 104 degrees, so this record-setting summer for the Pacific Northwest just rolls on. More heat to come. But You look to the tropics now, and we're looking at our tropical storm. There you see Tropical Storm Fred. I got to tell you, it's very disorganized right now. It's just to the west of Santo Domingo. It's going to be pushing over the island, so it never really gets its act together and becomes a major hurricane. It's a tropical storm. Maybe Saturday pushing through the Florida Keys, possibly late Sunday to Monday, maybe a landfall around the Panhandle. The chances of this becoming a hurricane are low. It's a slight chance, more likely a tropical storm, but we're going to keep an eye on everything. It's a rainmaker, nonetheless, regardless of what the winds are doing. Major, it's all yours.
Keeping an eye on everything for us.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to show this is that in case you know anyone who's elderly or someone with a disability living in those areas that are hit with severe heat, it's good to check in on them. The elderly, as you get older, it's more difficult to figure out if you're dehydrated or not. I guess your body just doesn't tell your brain, or your brain doesn't realize when you're getting dehydrated. And to tell you the truth, sometimes in housing developments, the AC dies. It gets overworked. And so you have people living high up in these large buildings that are suffering from a lot of heat. I'll tell you a true story. I was working with someone a while back, and the building just didn't have AC. It was early in the season. It was hot. And it was because a local news station here in the Boston area picked up the story, and that was the only reason why they got the AC turned on. So, and also, if the person's living alone, if you have someone who is elderly or disabled living alone, their AC may be on the fritz. Their wall unit may not be working. So it's good to check in. It's good to check in and see how they're doing, right? During these severe weather situations. Yeah, Glenn Chesterton, this is 48 degrees centigrade in Sicily yesterday. I heard in Tunis that it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit there today. You know, I'll say this, Jesse, is that, you know, for kids, public school is a right, just like how housing should be a right, food should be a right. These are basic rights, and when I say basic rights, they should be paid from the general fund. I guess pragmatically, politically speaking, when we talk about a right to something, it gets paid for from the general fund for tax revenues and such. So I would say that, you know, it is a right for the kids. What isn't a right is that parents get to have their delusional belief systems and abuse their kids because of the parents' delusional belief system. You don't have a right to abuse your kids. You don't have a right to make them poster children for your toxic fairy tales. And that's what those parents are doing. I feel your anger. I feel the anger too. Yeah, you know, Glenn, Glenn says, I lived in England in 2020 during the heat wave where most houses don't have AC. Well, this is the thing, too. There's a lot of areas that haven't had this kind of heat in the past, and now they do. So perhaps there isn't an infrastructure. People don't have the right air conditioners or cooling systems. And once again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You know, the Green Party, when Howie Hawkins, Green Party candidate for president, came on the show, he said, look, you know, our Green Deal is that everyone should have a cooling system in their house. That is a basic human right. Everyone should have a cooling system in their house. And in the age of global crisis, global climate crisis, that only makes sense, that everyone has at least one cooling unit and heating unit in their residence. I don't see how that is revolutionary, but apparently it is. KCA Randy says, yesterday I saw someone on MSNBC say that last week there were more than 90,000 kids tested positive. Yeah, you know, I mean, the thing is, that's only the kids that were symptomatic probably, or the kids that were tested. There's probably more kids who have COVID, and we don't know about it just because they're asymptomatic, but yet they're still spreading the disease. They're still spreading the Delta variant. And when you think about the Delta variant being as spreadable, as virulent as the chicken pox, that's like sending a kid into school without the chicken pox vaccine who may have chicken pox. You know, it's ridiculous. It's biological warfare. That's what it is. It's biological warfare. I remember that, Glenn. I remember the heat waves that have killed off people in Europe. Yeah. AC lines, the coil tend to freeze in extreme heat with constant use. What Howie Hawkins suggested, you know how they have the heat pumps and the cooling pumps? They use different technology, I think, John Hudson. My girlfriend and I, she tried to explain to me how they use different molecules, cooling molecules and heating molecules. I took a look at it. I can't really tell you how a heat pump, cooling pump works, but it's different technology than AC units, I believe. Did you see? Dee asks, did you guys see the story about some tropical bugs showing up now? The thing is, with the climate crisis, we're going to be seeing a lot more of the tropical diseases moving up, into temperate or what were once temperate areas. You can see that with mosquitoes, right? So a lot of these mosquito-borne diseases are going to be heading up into the northern latitudes. All right. Last story. Oh, vaccines and pregnancy, everyone. That's the last story. Links in the description below. Vaccinating during pregnancy has become even more urgent as ICU beds fill up. We've been covering, I don't know how long we've been covering COVID. We've been covering COVID, I guess, from day one. And there's one thing that we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks, that ICU intensive care unit beds are filling up. The CDC is doubling down on its recommendation that people who are pregnant get the COVID-19 vaccine, following new data underscoring its safety and effectiveness throughout pregnancy. The recommendation is coming at a time when doctors across the country are reporting an uptick in the number of unvaccinated pregnant people getting hospitalized with severe cases of COVID-19. The low vaccination rate in this group is striking, doctors note. As of July 31st, only 23% of those who are pregnant had received at least one dose of vaccine against the coronavirus. So that's 23% of pregnant women had one dose of the vaccine. People who are fully vaccinated, probably less than that. CDC recommends that pregnant people should be vaccinated against COVID based on new evidence about the safety and effectiveness of the vaccines, the agency said in updated guidance that echoes the urgent recommendation of leading medical societies. COVID-19 vaccination is recommended for all people 12 years and older, including people who are pregnant, breastfeeding, or trying to get pregnant now, or might become pregnant in the future, according to the agency. Concerns among some people that messenger RNA vaccines might increase the risk of miscarriage when given early in pregnancy are not borne out by the data. Officials say miscarriage rates after the vaccine were similar to the expected rate of miscarriage in any group of pregnant people. The vaccine is also safe later in a pregnancy and while breastfeeding, the agency's new analysis indicates. Dr. Allison Cahill, a maternal fetal medicine specialist and professor at the Dell Medical School at the University of Texas at Austin, has been telling all within earshot to get vaccinated. She works mostly with pregnant individuals who are sick with COVID-19 and sees the damage the virus can do. Cahill recalls treating an unvaccinated woman who came into her hospital with shortness of breath. Within 24 hours, she says things got much worse, and the woman needed a tremendous amount of oxygen to survive. Cahill says within 2 days of being admitted to the hospital, the woman could no longer breathe on her own. She was intubated and then put on a ventilator. Eventually, the woman needed ECMO, extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, which is a machine that bypasses her lungs and oxygenates her blood for her. Cahill says she was on ECMO, which is often a bridge to a heart or lung transport for critically ill people for several weeks. She was eventually able to come off all of those things, Cahill said. She miraculously did not require a preterm delivery. She remained pregnant, and after 2.5 months in the hospital, she was able to go home. Holy crap, 2.5 months in the hospital. Medical professionals and scientists don't know exactly why those who are pregnant are at much higher risk when they become infected with the virus, but they are concerned this population is especially vulnerable because so many remain unvaccinated. Since April, the CDC has recommended vaccines for those who are pregnant as the best way to protect them and their babies from the coronavirus, although people who were pregnant were excluded from the initial clinical trials of the 3 COVID-19 vaccines authorized for the emergency use in the U.S. Significant data gathered since then has shown the shots to be safe and effective in this group. It's important to stress that the benefits of getting vaccinated far outweigh any of the risk, especially for someone who is pregnant. The costs of not getting vaccinated are just too high. Yes. The thing is, right, and I have 2 kids. And you find out that miscarriages happen not that uncommonly, right? They happen. So you can see how if someone, it's just like with autism, right? Autism just happens to occur at the same age a child gets vaccinated. And you can see how people confuse correlation with causality. Oh, I got vaccinated and now I got a miscarriage. Yeah. Well, those 2 events are not causally related. It's only correlation. Because, once again, miscarriages within the first trimester, from what I understand, happen a lot more frequently than at least a lot of men realize, right? I was surprised at how often, when looking at the data, how often miscarriages do occur. Checking out the chat. Hit that like button, you crazy heathens. Indeed, B. Thank you. I appreciate it. So Jessi Bear. ECMO is no joke. A family member of mine was on it last-ditch effort to save their life. Thankfully, it worked. That's good to hear. That was via asthma and bronchitis. It's terrifying to see someone on an ECMO. I didn't even know ECMO existed up until this article, to tell you the truth, Jessi Bear. Hadn't heard of it before today. I know a lady, KCA Randy says, I know a lady who got H1N1, swine flu, while she was pregnant. Doc wouldn't give her Tamiflu, induced a medical coma, took the baby C-section. Wow. And she never woke up. Or, once you start hearing stories, it's tough. Fun fact, clicking Andy's like button keeps his coffee hot. I like that. I don't know if that's been peer reviewed or not, Dee, but I'll go with that. I'll go with that. All right. Hey, to be clear, I didn't use the term molecules. I know you didn't. Oh, geez. Now I have to go back and I have to do some kind of apologetics here for myself. I feel like I've been attacked. What are we talking about? We're talking about the heat pump cooling units. Girlfriend, is that what we're talking about? They're atoms. And I just want to say this, and I know this, atoms are molecules. Not all molecules are, well, all molecules are made out of atoms, but every singular atom, like that's a molecule. And tell me if I'm wrong on this. I'm willing to go to the mat on this. Like you have one atom of hydrogen, that is a molecule of hydrogen right there. I feel pretty confident about that. But, I felt really confident about a lot of things. And then the girlfriend goes, no, you're wrong on that, Andy Hall. All right. Oh, the only reason I know about ECMO is because I watched Chicago Med. Oh, interesting. So what, oh man, what have we done over the last, 48, 49 minutes? We've talked about booster shots for people who are immunocompromised, probably going to be happening in the next couple of days, or the okay from the FDA. We talked about Paul Rand getting booted off of YouTube for a week, religious exemptions for masks. Sorry, crazy lunatic parents in Tennessee, in Nashville. Your kid wasn't allowed to go to school because of your crazy toxic fairy tales. And get vaccinated for pregnancy. I'm just saying I didn't use. Okay. All right. I understand that. I understand. See, I'm gonna address this important issue about atoms and molecules in the after party after show, which I haven't even mentioned. There's so many things I don't mention during the course of the show. We're doing the after party after show for progressives, humanists, atheists. If you want to come on, there's a link. If you want to be on the panel, there's a link in the description below. Also, I should mention the fact that I don't run ads here, so all YouTube members and patrons support the show. So please become a YouTube patron, YouTube member or patron. Links are in the description. Of course, you can just super chat me or whatever. I don't like asking for money. I don't like it. I don't like taking compliments. I don't like taking money, asking for money. So there we go. See, I was about to say I don't like taking money, and that's a Freudian slip there. Microphone, you're so right. My Freudian slip is showing. So hey, let's do something funny. You want to do something funny? Let's do something funny.
Ooh.
Hilarious and adorable at the same time. Hilarious and adorable at the same time, everyone. All right, we're doing the same crazy thing tomorrow at 9 a.m. Full hour after party after show, since I don't work today. So that's full hour from 10 to 11. If you want to pop on, feel free to. I'm going to do my thank you video. Jessi Bear, $2. Well, thank you very much, Jessi Bear. You're too kind. I do appreciate the support. John Hudson says, sorry, I lost my account for my secret Swiss bank account. I hear you have coffee can money, John Hudson. I hear you have coffee can money buried in your yard or in your kid's yard, right? Thanks again, Jessi Bear. I appreciate it. So thank you. Video coming up, and then I'll see y'all at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern. That's right. In a few minutes.